Vasyl Lomachenko says he would drop down to 130 again to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. But first, let's look at a video of Gervonta Tank Davis and his most latest comments that he said about fighting Lomachenko.
Yeah, and he looked it good. He didn't just, badly beat a guy. He beat him good. He actually dropped him too.
Great belt champ, big veteran, been in there with the best.
Yeah.
He draws really good. Do you feel like that made your victory over him that much better for him to come back?
It just shows what I'm capable of. You can't knock it. It doesn't matter. If me and Lomachenko fight, it doesn't matter. It will show when me and him meet. Whenever we meet, we can meet tomorrow. It will show. I promise you. It's not light over here. I'm not sweet. Lomachenko went in there. He was over trying to think he was so better than Pedraza because I beat him the way I beat him, and then it didn't look too good for him. You see, he was bruised up more than I was.
What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also, subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang, notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the Super Chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, and the Patreon family. We working. Now, Vasyl Lomachenko, he has some recent statements I want to go over. Lomachenko says, quote, "It's better to fight with Richard Commey than Anthony Corolla. Richard Commey at least has a belt, and I have a goal to win all the belts." He goes on to say, "After my last two fights, they said that Loma began to lose some position. But listen, guys, it was my third fight in the third weight class. And by the way, I didn't use the right hook against Pedraza because of shoulder. My goal is to collect all 4 belts in one weight class and retire. What should I do next? Boxing is sport for me. It's interesting to challenge champions. Who should I fight with? When I become undisputed champion, I am ready to retire even at the age of 33. For the first time, I wore gloves when I was 5 years old, and after that, my entire life has been boxing. But everything has an end." He says, "Yeah, it would be very interesting to fight with Gervonta Tank Davis. I like to fight with everyone who talks a lot. Davis is at super featherweight, but I can go for him. If only the promoters could organize this fight." He is young and ambitious guy as far as Teofimo Lopez. I think he does a great job. People in the US love these kind of boxers. He tries to copy Conor McGregor, but Teofimo must keep in mind everything that happened to Conor McGregor in the octagon, especially when matched with top fighters. Conor lost. So, he kind of claps at Gervonta Tank Davis and, sends a little warning shot to Teofimo Lopez. Listen, this talk from Lomachenko, very disappointing. Let's jump right into it. Disappointing because he's talking about retirement. I understand he's been boxing his whole life. Floyd Mayweather and a ton of others have. And they weren't talking about retirement. Golovkin, he's 36, 37. And they said he's going to box probably 2-3 more years, something like that. Floyd Mayweather fought till he's 40, 41. Bernard Hopkins, the list goes on and on and on. De La Hoya fought 36, 37. And you have Lomachenko, when things seem to be heating up, Teofimo's calling you out. Tank Davis has been more vocal about fighting you. You're talking about unifying one last division, and if the promoters can organize, you'll drop back down. Even the drop back down talk, it's weird. It's a little bit weird for me, It's a little bit weird for me because typically you don't see fighters regress and talk about going back down. Usually when fighters do that, it's understood that they have intentions of going back down. People are like Canelo. He told you that he might not stay at 168. He said he might, depending on how he feel. He fought Rocky Fielding. Most people were under the impression that he would test the water, handle this easy work, set history, get a cool little paycheck as his first fight for DAZN, and drop back down to 160, which is what he did. And now he's fighting Daniel the Miracle Man Jacobs. Lomachenko, he's had tough fights, at least to me, at lightweight in his last 2 fights since he's moved up. And now, to me, just my opinion, it seems like he realizes that the competition from here on out is only going to get tougher and tougher and tougher. And now he's thinking about going back down. Listen, Gervonta Tank Davis at 130, 135, either way, it's a good fight. But I'm not typically used to hearing talk about. I talked to Andre Ward specifically, and I have the clip on my computer. Andre Ward was training for Kovalev fight, big fight for his career. Then somebody brought up, what about Triple G? He said he had his opportunity. He said, I called him out, I was down to make the fight, and it didn't happen. They didn't pursue it. They didn't want it, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going back down to 168. It's not good for your body, typically. You know, if a person's talking about retirement, then that means they have some mileage and years in the game, typically. So usually you don't see at a later portion of people's career go back down and weight when it was understood they were moving up. So I think maybe the tougher fights with Jorge Linares, and then also fights with his last opponent, Jose Pedraza, who Tank Davis destroyed all round. I think that's been like a reality check for him and his team that, you know, there's competition, this matrix stuff, and, you know, the guys are coming to fight and bring the best fight. And then he's probably heard the comparisons between Jose Pedraza versus him and Tank Davis, and, you know, Teofimo's making a lot of noise. So I'm not going to speak too much on Lomachenko's behalf outside of what he said. I'm just giving you my thoughts to it. Seems weird that he's talking about dropping back down. He's saying Teofimo, remember Conor McGregor and this and that, but what about fighting him? That's the fight Top Rank's trying to build. ESPN, you know, they want ratings, so they would want it. I, as a boxing fan, would love that fight. You know, he feels he's ready. Let's see it. You know, you don't have to drop down for him. But the catch is Teofimo just said to Max Kellerman on ESPN on his new show that he's not going to stay around at 135 beyond this year. So before that train leaves the station, they would have to make that fight. It looks like this year, because Teofimo, you know, he's a growing kid, and he's not going to be there forever. And he's already told you he wants to fight. He wants the title. He's targeting the champion. You know, so it just seems like Lomachenko's almost his demeanor since he's had tough fights. Now it's like we're hearing him talk about retirement. Like when he was on top, or all of his performances were looking, I guess, sharper. They weren't being criticized at all because he was winning handedly. I didn't really hear him talk about retirement. Now he's talking about, I've been boxing since I was a kid. So me personally, I don't prefer that. It sounds a little bit sketch to me. And this is what I'm talking about with HBO boxing before they got out of the game, ESPN. You guys elevate and put certain fighters that you want on the list, old media, you know, and a lot of times they try to have the great white hype hope. That's what people say, right? And then they anoint whatever fighter, and then you see the fighter take loss, or you see, and then people jump off of it, you know, and it's just crazy. They say Triple G's number one. Now you don't really see, he just lost to Canelo. You don't really see ESPN saying Triple G is the number one fighter. Meanwhile, people like myself, new media, I call it how I see. No propaganda, no politics, no bullshit. I said Andre Ward was number one while he was fighting after Floyd retired. He retired on his terms, speech intact, commentator job in the movie Creed, you know, which should be coming out on Blu-ray soon. Life is good. He retired undefeated on his terms. And he slayed the dragon in Kovalev twice, not once. You didn't like it the first time, he did it again, right? Then after he left, I said Terrence Crawford. Terrence Crawford is still looking like a problem. He's still actively at least talking about, I'll fight Mikey, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, where Keith Thurman at, Errol Spence, you know, looking for the smoke. And Crawford is not too much older than Lomachenko. And I'm sure he's been boxing most of his life. He has kids I'm sure he wants to spend time with. But you don't hear Terrence Crawford talking about retirement, you know? And Lomachenko saying, hey, even if I'm 33, I want to retire. But, like, we got to see the fight. And the other thing, the Anthony Corolla fight, it leaves much to be desired. I get it. Richard Comey's hurt. things like that. But this is what I'm talking about. They anoint certain fight. Roman Chocolatito Gonzalez, they said he was #1 pound for pound. Where's that conversation at? You know, no one's even saying that now. They were saying Lomachenko is pound for pound the best. Bob Arum told anyone who would listen that he's better than anyone ever in history. But what about the Teofimo Lopez fight? You guys are on the same network. Tank Davis, okay, politics. Maybe that's harder to make. You know, Mayweather Promotions at times doesn't seem like they want to work on someone else's terms. So I get that. Okay, fine. Tank Davis, maybe that's harder to make because of the politics. But Teofimo's right there, and he's looking like a superstar. And you're in the same division, and he's saying he wants a title shot, and it's looking like he's too good for just journeyman style. You know, so all in all, it's going to be interesting to see the next couple fights with Lomachenko, because it looks like he's been looking more human in his recent fights, and people are like catching on. And that's what I told you. Lomachenko is a good fighter, but the amateurs and pros is a different game. This is a different circuit, and you still got to earn your stripes as a pro. And there's a lot of people in or around his division that are really extremely hungry. So I can't wait to see what Lomachenko decides to do. You know, I don't think he should retire prematurely. There's a lot to be accomplished. And see, this is the other thing with the retirement talk. You hear Golovkin kind of making it sound like him and his team making it sound like Golovkin might retire, Lomachenko might retire. This is why people say the great white hope, great white height thing, is because legacy-wise, how much did you really do? You know, like Lomachenko, what has he got, 13 fights? So if he's, I don't know his exact age, let's say he's 29, 30. So you're going to retire in a year or two, possibly. How many fights are you going to be able to get up to? You know, you're fighting maybe 2 times a year. You know, so Lomachenko, he's not even going to have probably 27 fights when it's all said and done. And ESPN, old media, they were the ones saying he's #1 pound for pound, above and beyond the Canelos of the world who got 50-something plus fights. I get it. He didn't have like the same amateur experience as Lomachenko, but he learned on the job, and now he's here. He's arrived. If he beats Daniel Jacobs, that's going to help grow his brand even more. You know, so people are paving the way. I think Lomachenko is often glorified because of his amateur pedigree. He's a good fighter, but I got to see him in there with the Mikey Garcias of the world. You know, even Richard Commey to me is a better fight than Anthony Corolla, because Commey can crack, and we've seen him at a higher level with Robert Easter fighting for a title. We've seen him with Denis Shafikov. You know, so it's going to be interesting to see how Top Rank manages him. But as far as Lomachenko, you know, he's thinking about dropping down, thinking about retirement. This is just weird talk to me. And then shooting down a Pacquiao fight, saying Pacquiao is too old. He's kind of getting at Teofimo, but he's not saying, okay, let's set it up this fall, this winter. You know, so we'll see how it all plays out. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. Make sure you smash the like button as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego, signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxingego, the future of boxing.